May I come in, sir?
Yes, come.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
afternoon, sir.
Please take Ankit.
Yes.
Please take a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Ankit, what is in the news today?
Sir, well, the Russia-Ukraine conflict is in news.
Russia-Ukraine conflict. Tell me top three only. One is the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
About the election.
About the election. Very good.
Sir.
Actually, after these two, there is hardly anything left.
No, actually, about the Kabaddi final was yesterday, so that is also
Kabaddi.
there.
Okay, good. Let's talk about the first one, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So far, what has been the impact of that on India?
Well, sir, so far there is not much impact, but if India will intervene more in that matter, there may be some impact, there can be the ties with Russia.
But I'm not asking you that. Whether India intervenes or not.
Yes, sir.
My question is only so far. So far, there is no impact.
Not much, sir.
But then why has the share market fallen down so badly? It's also an impact. You may not be a shareholder, I am.
Yes.
I'm losing money.
That is one.
What could be the reason? Why is share market? How is share market and why is it affected by the war?
Sir, maybe one reason is that we import lot of weapons from Russia, so that may be the reason.
Import
lot of weapons from Russia.
Weapons, but weapons are not covered in the stock market.
Sir,
is there any company which makes weapons and the shares have gone down? No.
Sorry, sir, I don't know much about this.
Doesn't matter. Can you tell us something about the banking system in India? What type of banks do we have? We have
like, sir, we have public sector
banks, private sector banks.
Yes, sir.
Some time back, the Prime Minister of India made a statement that the government has no business to be in business. Remember that? What did it mean?
Sir, it may mean about the privatization.
Privatization. So what do you think that will happen if all the banks are privatized, or allowed to be privatized?
Well,
is it a good idea or not?
Sir, it has both positive as well as negative.
What are the positive? What are the negatives?
Sir, the positive impact of privatization may be we have lots of projects going on, and it is not possible to get the funding for those projects. But if those projects get privatized, so they will be easily funded.
Privatized the projects? Which type of projects? Why will they be easily funded by the private banks? I don't understand.
Sir, like there are infrastructure projects.
Infrastructure. I thought it will be the opposite. Private banks will not easily give the loans because the infrastructure projects have led to the NPAs and the frauds. Isn't it so?
Yes, sir.
That's where the public sector banks are suffering. Do you think private banks will make the same mistake? No, something else. What else will be the advantage of privatization?
Sir, the efficiency will improve.
Efficiency will improve.
Yes, sir.
Do you think the efficiency is poor in public sector?
Sir, it is.
In what way? Give me two examples.
Sir, when the staff is very comfortable if they are in a government job, but in a private job they have to.
In government job because government job is permanent.
That is true, sir. But in the private sector, it is more about the output. So when we have some goal-oriented works, there the progress will.
Goal-oriented is in private, not in public sector. So why don't you want to go to private sector?
Sir,
rather than coming to engineering services, you should go for a goal-oriented company.
Sir, that is true that in private sector there are lots of opportunity, but as it comes to civil engineering, the engineering services provide a better opportunity.
In private sector has no opportunities.
No, it has a lot of opportunities.
Who is doing the Central Vista project in Delhi? The private companies.
The Tata companies.
The Tatas and L&T.
L&T is also there, sir.
So why not? Why don't you prefer L&T and Tata rather than the CPWD?
Sir, the career growth is.
Career growth is better.
Yes, sir.
Career growth is endless there. Either you can reach the top also in Tatas.
Sir, that I can also reach in engineering services too.
No, engineering services you cannot reach the top. In engineering service only, but not the top of the government.
Well, sir, the
But
opportunity
in
looks
government
very
doesn't
better
pay
to
you
me.
like the Tatas. Tatas pay much more.
That is
Then
true.
why do you want government job?
Sir, the career growth aspect is favorable for me right now. Like there are also a lot of opportunity in government sector. Like I'll have a chance to do the various kinds of work like planning, design, and execution. That is
Planning and
not
execution.
much in L&T and all. Like they will keep me in one sector or other.
Government can also they keep you anywhere they like and keep and transfer you frequently, no?
That is also true, sir.
Okay, fine.
So, Ankit,
Yes, sir.
you are already working in a government sector.
Yes, sir.
So, whatever you aspire for
Yes, sir.
is already there in this job in which you are working.
That is true, sir.
So, why this next job in engineering service?
Sir, the promotional aspects are better in engineering services as compared to a state public sector undertaking. Like I'll get my next promotion, it may take around 10 to 15 years there, and here it is quite early as compared to that, sir.
All right, the career progression is better in
Yes,
union government that you want to say.
Yes, sir. Also, sir, I'll have a chance to work in various parts of the country, so that is also there, sir.
Okay, good. Now you passed out of your college in
2019, sir.
2019. What was your major project about?
Sir, it was about the design and cost estimation of rigid payments with the variation in CBR, traffic, as well as the PQC grade.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Of rigid payments.
Yes, sir, rigid payments.
Okay. Now, for design as well as
Cost estimation, sir.
cost estimation. So, what all parameters did you consider for estimation, cost estimation?
Sir, the quantities we get from the design part, and then the rate we get from the revenue departments, and sir, machinery cost also were taken into account.
Is there any standard Bureau of Indian Standard Code for designing of rigid payments?
Yes, sir. IRC 58 2015.
2015.
15, sir.
Had it been upgraded?
Sir, I have no idea. I think the flexible payment code was updated in 2018. The rigid, I have no idea, sir.
You have no idea. Okay. Now, what type of material are generally
Yes, sir.
prescribed in that Indian Standard Code, in that IRC code
About rigid payments, sir.
about rigid payment?
Sir, cement, concrete roads are there, so cement.
That
And
is
sir,
very general.
reinforcing bars also are there.
Reinforcing bars
Yes, sir.
and cement concrete.
Yes, sir.
What grade of concrete generally prefer?
Sir, M40 is generally preferred.
M40.
Yes, sir.
Correct. And the reinforcement bar, which type of reinforcement bar?
Sir, the HYSD bars are used, sir.
Yes, HYSD bar.
Yes, sir.
And the grade
FE 500, sir, mostly.
FE 500.
Ji.
Okay. Now, Haryana has a wonderful irrigation system
Yes, sir.
covering almost every area.
That is true.
Which type of irrigation system is generally practiced in Haryana?
Sir, mostly it is the canal system, sir.
Canal system.
Yes, sir.
And if you have to irrigate agricultural fields
Yes, sir.
at a local level, so what type of irrigation system is generally?
Sir, there is the underground pipelines are there. That is also used, sir.
For irrigation?
Yes, sir.
Good. And
Sir, mostly they are going for the check flooding.
check flooding,
Check flooding is mostly being used, sir.
that's all.
The groundwater is also used and the canal water is also used.
Groundwater in the form of tube well irrigation?
Tube wells are there, sir.
Tube well
Mostly in the northern part, there are tube wells, and in the southern part, it is done by canals, sir.
in southern part, mostly by canal.
Canals, sir.
Which river is generally used for canal irrigation system in Haryana? Which
Sir,
river's water?
Yamuna River is there.
Yamuna River.
That is used, and sir, Ghaggar River.
Ghaggar River.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me few barrages which had been constructed across Yamuna River for the purposes of irrigation water?
Sir, Hathni Kund barrage is there.
Where is it located?
It is in Yamunanagar, sir.
Yamunanagar.
Yes.
Okay. From there water is extracted.
Yes, sir.
What type of canal is used?
Sir, What type means?
What type of canal had been constructed for supplying this irrigation water? Is it lined canal, unlined canal?
Sir, it is lined on the sides. On the bottom, it is not lined, sir.
On the bottom, it is not lined. So on the bottom, there must be certain losses.
Yes, sir.
What type of losses?
Sir, seepage losses will be there.
Seepage losses.
Yes, sir.
In addition to seepage losses, there are also some other losses in canal. Which losses? Evaporation losses.
Yes, sir. Evaporation losses are there.
Evaporation losses.
Infiltration is also occurring in the ground.
Infiltration,
That's seepage.
that is seepage in a way. Now, which has more magnitude, seepage losses or evaporation losses?
Sir, seepage losses will have more magnitude, sir.
Seepage losses will have more
Because
magnitude.
mostly the canals are having lesser surface area, so they are very not much wide. So mostly the seepage losses will be there, sir.
Seepage losses will be more as compared to evaporation losses.
Losses.
Now, the bottom of the canals, you had said that mostly they are not lined.
Lines.
In addition to losses, what other problem can be seen in such canals?
Like, sir, the area around that could be waterlogged, sir, and
Area
there
could
can
be
be
waterlogged, yes.
saline problem also, sir. Salinity problem.
Salinity problem. Now, due to salinity problem, what happens in soil? Why do we say that salinity will cause problem?
Sir, the fertility of land will decrease.
Why?
The salts will come up, and
Which type of salts?
sir, black alkali salts will come
Black
up.
alkali salts. So
And
how
sir-
will it affect the fertility?
Sir, the more concentration may affect the crops.
How? I want to understand if salts are present in increased quantity, in increased concentration in soil moisture, then how is it going to affect the growth of the
Sir,
crop?
it may be because they may block some pores in the root zone depth of the soil, and that may affect the crops, sir. I don't know much in detail, sir.
That will be all.
Ankit,
Yes, sir.
what are the interlinking of river projects that is being undertaken by the government of India?
Sir, one is Cane Betwa project, sir. Uh, I don't know about any other, sir.
Okay, you know only about
Cane
Ken
Betwa.
Betwa. Okay, so what are the advantages of interlinking of river projects?
Sir, like there is some places where there is surplus of water, and also there are some places where there is lack of water. So by interlinking, we can the flood areas, in the areas where there is flood, we can take that water to the areas where there is like lack of water.
So how we will decide that this area is having surplus of water and this area is having deficit of water?
Sir, based on geography, I think like the southern part mostly there is lack of water, and in the northern part there are floods which are
No,
occurring.
that's not the right answer you are giving. How can we know the which point is having
Sir, maybe based on the rainfall magnitude we can know. Like in the different part of country we have rainfall magnitudes data available with us. From that maybe, sir. I don't know exactly, sir.
or some techniques you can suggest, some latest techniques to know about?
Sorry.
Do you know what is GIS system?
Yes, sir. Geographic information system, sir.
What is this system?
Sir, uh, like we can know about the various features of the earth without going into that place. Through the satellites and all, we can know about various features, various geographical features. That is GIS, sir.
How it can be useful for quantifying the water in a certain basin? कर सकते हैं क्या?
And we can do, sir. Like there is based on the imaging, and that data could be collected through GIS where there is more water, and based on that we can make some plans, sir.
How will you define hydrograph?
Sir, hydrograph is a plot between the discharge and time, sir.
Okay, and unit hydrograph?
Sir, unit hydrograph, uh, it is the hydrograph for a unit depth of rainfall.
Unit depth of rainfall?
Yes, sir. 1 centimeter we consider, sir.
It's of 1 centimeter of rainfall, you are sure? Or runoff?
Sorry, sir, it is runoff
Both
actually.
are different things, no?
Yes, sir. 1 centimeter of runoff, sir.
So whether it is direct runoff hydrograph or indirect runoff hydrograph, I'm asking about unit hydrograph. ये DRH है या indirect है, क्या है?
Sir, direct runoff hydrograph of runoff of 1 centimeters.
What is the use? Why we are interested to know the unit hydrograph? No,
Sir, based on the unit hydrograph, we can at a certain location, like there are some locations which we cannot access. So at those locations, using the unit hydrograph, we can find out the flood hydrograph, sir. So that is useful there, sir.
Okay, there are certain assumptions in unit hydrograph theory,
Yes, sir.
and there are two basic assumptions.
Yes, sir.
What are those two basic assumptions?
Sir, one is time invariance and one is the sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall. Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall.
What are the different methods to be used for flood mitigation?
Sir, one, as you said, interlinking of river can be used. Other than that, sir, like construction of small hydropower plants that may, construction of check dams that may help in reducing the flood impact, sir.
What is flood routing?
Flood routing, sir. Sir, flood routing tends to find out the outflow hydrograph uh, at a particular location in a river based on the inflow hydrograph property, sir.
What are different techniques of flood routing?
Sir, Muskingum method is there, and sir, there are other methods. I'm not able to recall the names.
You are not able to recall. Okay. Do you know what is critical path in a construction project network?
Sir, it is a path along which the float is a zero. So
Which float?
total float as well, all the floats, sir. Total float, independent float, as well as the interfering float also, all is zero, sir.
Okay. So can there be more than one critical path in a project network?
Yes, sir, it can be.
Okay. So then how we will decide that which one is more critical? If two paths are having same time,
Yes,
right? Then how will you decide that which one will be critical?
Sir, both paths will be considered critical, but there may be one path in which the activity.
No.
Sorry, sir, I don't know.
क्रिटिकलिटी किसकी ज़्यादा होगी या कैसे हम मालूम करेंगे? How we will be finding that this path is more critical?
Sorry,
Can you state central limit theorem?
central limit theorem, sir.
Yes.
Sir, it states that the
Speak loudly. Yes.
sir, it states that the total project will follow the normal distribution theorem, sir.
You are not stating the.
Sorry, sir,
You
I
are
am
not
not able.
able to recall, no?
Yes,
Okay, we provide dummies
yes, sir.
in a project network.
Yes, sir.
What are the purposes to insert dummies in a network?
Sir, dummies are provided to establish the precedence relationship, sir. It has no physical significance. It is just to show which activity comes after and which
But there
activity.
are two regions. What are those two regions?
Sir, I think it is precedence relationship to show that.
Okay, my last question.
Yes, sir.
There are two types of system. One is AOA, activity on arrow. Another is activity on node, right? Two techniques. What is difference between these two techniques of project network? AOA and AON.
Sir, the activity on arrow technique is the one where the activities are shown on arrows and the events are shown on the nodes, whereas in the other it is reverse, sir. And dummies, the basic difference is that in activity on node we don't use dummies. In activity of on arrow, we have to use dummies to show
Only this
precedence
much
relation.
difference. Precedence relationship. There are 4 precedence relationships. What are those 4 precedence relationships, and that is relevant for which type of network, AOA or AON? You know precedence relationships? Start to start, start to finish, finish to start.
Sorry,
Don't
sir, I
know?
don't know.
All right, Ankit. So what are the different types of bolts that are used in order to establish connections?
Sir, black bolts are used, and sir, high strength friction grip bolts are used.
Okay, what is the difference between them?
Sir, the black bolts are the one using which we get the slip bearing type connection. Like it can slip. In using the high strength friction grip bolts, we get a connection which is friction type, or there will be no slipping.
Okay, and how the grade of the bolt is defined?
Sir, on the basis of the gauge diameters,
Diameter.
diameter of the shank of the bolts.
For example, the grade of the bolt is 4.6. So what information do you get from this?
Sir, the 4.6, sir, it shows that the ultimate strength is 400 MPa and the yield strength is 400 multiplied that 0.6, sir, that is 240
The
MPa.
grade is dependent upon the strength, na?
Yes, sir.
Not on the diameter.
I actually thought about M20. Like,
What do you mean by prying action?
sorry, sir?
Prying action.
Prying action. Sir, in case of thinner plates, when they are connected with bolts, like there can be some additional tensile force which will come into action because of these thinner plates. That is called
Flexibility.
prying force.
Flexibility of the member.
Yes, yes.
That is the main reason. What do you mean by shear lag effect?
Sir, when we connect a angle section with a gusset plate, there is one leg which is not connected and one leg is connected, sir. So due to this shear lag effect, what will happen is this leg which is unconnected, this will not be fully utilized.
Okay.
Sir, that is shear lag effect.
And how can we remove it?
Sir, we can provide another angle on the top. Yes. That angle has a certain name, sir. I'm not able to recall that name.
Okay. Can we reduce the effect of shear lag by increasing the length of connection or by reducing the length of connection?
Sir, by reducing the length of connection.
By reducing the length of connection, shear lag effect would be reduced.
Reduce, sir.
Sure.
I think so.
Wrong. Suppose we have to design a eccentrically loaded column.
Yes, sir.
That means it will be subjected to compression as well as bending moments.
Yes, sir.
How we will design?
Sir, we'll follow the provisions of, there is a special publication SP16, sir. Using that we can design, sir.
What is that provision?
Sir, I don't know.
You don't know. What are interaction curves?
Sir, interaction curves, sorry, sir.
How do we control the deflection in beams?
Sir, the deflection in beams can be controlled by limiting the effective span to the depth ratio. Based on that, sir, we can limit.
And what modification factors are applied over them?
Sir, in reference to steel, you are asking? In RCC only. Sir, based on the tension steel, there is one factor KT. Based on the compression steel, and sir, in case of flange beam, we have another factor KF. That is also there.
Okay. What are the IS code provisions for the transverse reinforcement in column?
Transverse reinforcement like lateral ties, and also the minimum diameter we have to provide is it should be maximum of the largest longitudinal bar that we are using, that diameter divided by 4 and 6 mm, sir. The maximum of that should be used, the minimum diameter, and sir, the spacing, like in case of lateral ties, it should be maximum of 16 times the smallest longitudinal diameter, effective depth, and 300 mm, sir.
What are flat slabs?
So flat slabs are those slabs which are directly supported on columns, like there are no beams provided. That is flat slabs.
And for what particular criteria they are checked?
Sir, there is one criteria The minimum depth, for minimum depth there is one criteria, sir, and for shear they should be checked, sir.
What type of shear?
Sorry sir, I don't know the type.
There are two types, one-way shear, two-way shear. They check for both of them or only one of them?
Sir, I think one way shear only.
Not two-way shear, there is no problem?
Sir, I'm not sure about this.
Done, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ankit. Please wait for a minute. We'll call you again for the feedback. What do you feel? How did you perform?
Sir, the technical is where I'm lacking, and also this.
How many days you have got?
Sir, I haven't
तो
done
टाइम
3.
नहीं है अब टेक्निकल ज़्यादा पढ़ने का टाइम नहीं, क्विक रिवीजन ही कर सकते हो.
Presentation.
Do it quickly and you can take your time in responding, but decide what you have to say. And जहाँ doubt है वो don't try to answer it.
Okay, sir.
I noted somewhere in non-technical question I asked you, don't yeah, share market, for example.
Yes,
If you have no idea, you have no idea. Most people have no interest in that. Nothing to do with defense equipment.
Okay.
So, you are a good candidate. You have pleasing personality also. I think we have given you 115 marks. We are a little conservative, and you will do, if you improve a little, you should go up to 130.
Sir, can you
135
suggest some
also.
areas to improve on?
130, 135 also you can do.
Sir, please suggest something on which I can work. Like I have 4 days left.
Technical things my friends will suggest you. I'll suggest you only one thing.
Yes, sir. Not one, sir.
Listen to the question very, very carefully. In UPSC, sometimes there is a catch in the question. Particularly if there is a simple question, there can be a catch. Catch in the sense that they want specific answers.
Yes.
It's not about testing your knowledge on the entire thing around that question. Specific things. Respond to specifically. And if you need to think, it is permitted to borrow time also. You can request them that, can I think for 10-15 seconds? I'll do give you a better answer then. So that is permitted. They'll be generally happy to give you time also. But because they like to see people thinking about their questions and then responding. Okay.
Yes.
So,
सर अंकित आप क्लीन शेव रहेंगे, ध्यान
वो करना है सर.
एंड हेयर शुड बी नीटली ट्रिम्ड.
सर छोटे भी करवाने हैं.
ऐसा फॉल डाउन हो रहे हैं आपके,
मतलब ये जो
आईब्रोज पे आ
ऐसे-
रहे हैं, पीछे जाना चाहिए.
ठीक है.
ठीक, तो आप हाँ छोटे और थोड़ा नीटली ट्रिम रखेंगे बालों को. टॉप मोस्ट बटन अगर टाई आपने पहना तो ये बंद रहेगा.
ठीक है.
ठीक है. जब आप जवाब दे रहे हैं तो आखिरी के जो 3-4 शब्द हैं वो आप जवाब देते देते ख़त्म ही कर दे रहे हैं. मतलब वहाँ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा कि आखिरी में आपने बोला क्या. तो हम लोग को मालूम है कि क्या जवाब है, तो
कंप्लीट योर सेंटेंस. ठीक है ना.
ठीक, तो विद कॉन्फिडेंट एंड लाउड क्लियर वॉइस, कॉन्फिडेंट क्लियर वॉइस आपको आखिरी तक अपना जवाब पूरा सस्टेन करना है. ठीक. टेक्निकल में आप जो आपके स्ट्रॉन्ग सब्जेक्ट्स हैं 3-4 ही, उतना भी टाइम नहीं है वैसे तो, बस 3-4 के नोट्स आप ब्रश अप कर लें. ठीक, ताकि अगर उससे रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन पूछा जाए तो आप कॉन्फिडेंटली जवाब दे पाएँ. बट ज़रूर करने 3-4 सब्जेक्ट्स के वाइज जो भी आपके स्ट्रॉन्ग सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, क्योंकि वही आप मिनिमम टाइम में मैक्सिमम कर पाएंगे.
Yes.
Ankit, that's you are a good candidate. अच्छा है. But you have to work.
Yes, sir.
Right. You have to work. ये तो आपको पता चल ही गया है कि आपको कुछ काम करना है. Means what I perceive that you lacked a specificity in your answer. Right. So be specific while you answer. Be concise. Right. चीज़ों को जानते हैं आप, but it should be something expectations will be something more. Right. जो आप बताते हैं उसमें कुछ कमी रह जाती है. मे बी कि अभी आप उसको थोड़ा देख लें, आपके पास जब भी इंटरव्यू है जो नोट्स हैं उसको देख लें, है ना. जैसे हाइड्रोलॉजी वगैरह में तो आप बता रहे थे, बट यस
ये सर एक्चुअली काफ़ी टाइम हो गया पढ़े. हाइड्रोलॉजी और स्टील मैंने नहीं पढ़ा.
हाँ, कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट में भी मैं गया, वो भी थोड़ा सा, बिकॉज प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. राइट.
Yes.
एनीबडी कैन आस्क यू सम क्वेश्चंस. राइट. What are the techniques of construction project management? What is difference between CPM and PERT? What is critical path?
Yes.
तो मैंने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था, जस्ट उसका जवाब भी बता दूं कि if there are two paths having the same time, right, then the path which will be having minimum value of standard deviation, right, as a whole, वो क्रिटिकल होगा, क्योंकि वहाँ पे ज़्यादा क्रिटिकलिटी, वेरिएशन के चांस क्या है, कम है. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट?
Yes, sir.
सो देयर इज ए सॉर्ट ऑफ रिजिडिटी वहाँ पे, है ना. प्रोजेक्ट एक्सपेक्टेड ड्यूरेशन जो टाइम अवेलेबल है और जो प्रोजेक्ट ड्यूरेशन दोनों में बहुत कम गैप, तो दैट विल बी मोर क्रिटिकल। तो थोड़ा सा आप कर दें, अच्छा कर सकते हैं।
आरसीसी तो रिवाइज नहीं है आपका?
आरसीसी किया था सर, आरसीसी से मैं नहीं
इंट्रैक्शन का भी नहीं पता?
नहीं सर।
एसपी
रिवीजन
आप
के बाद
बता रहे
नहीं
हैं
पता?
SP16 और आप बता नहीं पा रहे हैं कि SP23 बताया ना आपने, कौन सा
एसपी
बताया?
16 बताया।
हाँ,
मैंने
तो
उसके बाद भी बता दिया
बाद भी
इंट्रैक्शन
बताया,
कब है,
हाँ,
दे
इंटरेक्शन
बता दो
कब है,
कैसे दिखता है, क्या है।
तो बड़ा
बेस
कॉमन
वो
है।
सर एक्चुअली ये वाला एरिया टच नहीं किया सर।
बेसिक है, टच करके जाओ ये सब चीज़ें, ठीक है ना। मैं नहीं कह रहा कि उसका यूज़ बताओ,
हाँ,
बट
लेकिन जानना चाहिए
एटलीस्ट
ग्राफ है
आप
क्या।
बता देते हाँ देखा है और ऐसा दिखता है, तो इट वुड हैव बीन मच
Yes.
कन्विंसिंग। ऐसे सीधे इतने इजी क्वेश्चन को आप सीधे इक्वट नहीं मार सकते ना ये, ठीक है। थोड़ा सा एक्टिव देखो, प्रेजेंटेशन पे काम करो अपनी, ठीक है। आंसर्स सही भी है लेकिन वो डल वे में आएंगे तो कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है उसका। बी एंथुजियास्टिक, ठीक है, थोड़ा एक्टिव दिखना है आपको। बैक स्ट्रेट एकदम, ठीक है, ऐसा डल नहीं बैठना, बैक स्ट्रेट और थोड़ा सा थिक वॉइस के साथ वहाँ पे आंसर करिए।
एक सर मैंने वो ब्लेजर सोचा है नेवी ब्लू
हाँ,
पहनने का,
अच्छा
उसके
है।
साथ ये टाई ठीक रहेगा चेंज
पैंट के साथ तो मैच कर रहा है टाई सर।
ब्लू के साथ
Depends on the color of the blazer.
सर यूएस सेम
Blue.
डार्क ब्लू।
ठीक है, it's okay.
शर्ट कलर यही आप
सोबर होना
शर्ट
चाहिए,
यही
सोबर होना चाहिए, कुछ बहुत
सेम
ब्राइट
शर्ट
नहीं।
पहन के जाएंगे।
बहुत bright नहीं होना चाहिए, otherwise so.
वाइट एंड ब्लैक स्ट्रैप दैट इज आल्सो
Then this is better shirt.
ठीक है,
दिस इज गुड।
ठीक है, रिवीजन करिए और एक्टिवली आंसर दीजिए।
और अर्थक्वेक इंजीनियरिंग भी थोड़ा देख के जाइए, है ना, जो बेसिक्स, नॉट इन मच डेप्थ, लेकिन बेसिक कोडल प्रोविजंस ऑफ IS 1893, डिजाइन बेस्ड शियर, सॉफ्ट स्टोरी, है ना, ये सब जो बेसिक्स हैं,
यस
है ना, कितने जोन्स हैं अर्थक्वेक के, क्या जोन्स हैं, तो फंडामेंटल नॉट इन मच डेप्थ, लेकिन दैट्स
पूछा सर लास्ट ईयर भी पूछा।
हाँ, लास्ट ईयर में पूछा था ना। हाँ, एंड डिफरेंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट्स रिलेटेड टू सिविल इंजीनियरिंग, इंटरलिंकिंग ऑफ रिवर्स, सागरमाला, भारतमाला, स्मार्ट सिटी मिशन। लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, याद रखिए।
ये सर निकल जाएगा
डिफरेंट
दिमाग
सिविल इंजीनियरिंग, बस एक लाइन लिख लीजिए, सिविल इंजीनियरिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट्स, जो भी चल रहा है देश में, कोई भी पूछ सकता है। उन चेयरमैन का नाम भी,
यस
ये स्मार्ट सिटी मिशन बताओ, जल जीवन मिशन बताओ, जल शक्ति अभियान बताओ, स्वच्छ भारत मिशन बताओ, स्वच्छ, है ना, एनीथिंग, PMKSY, प्रधानमंत्री कृषि सिंचाई योजना, है ना, एनीथिंग, तो इसको आप देख लीजिए।
Best of luck, Ankit.
ऑल द बेस्ट।
थैंक यू सर।